Welcome to Rider Club Radio, the podcast all about Kamen Rider. All new, all different podcast this week about me, your host Jeff, and your entirely new co-host.
It's still me.
Shit! I was hoping really hard that if I did that, somebody else's voice would come out.
Was this some gag that we planned out and I missed?
Anyway, we're going to be talking about all new, all different things this week, and that's why we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Drive episode 38. Liam, what happened today?
Well, today is a continuation of the chef arc from last week, if you remember that. The secret sauce, that you splash on the roid mudes and they turn super and fiery. So, in the last episode, we remember it ended with Drive getting his ass kicked, he loses his belt, Heart's got him alone in a forest, things are about to go real bad, but then Heart says, Drive, why would I even fight you if you don't have the belt? That's not a fight, that's just a murder. So he walks off, and Drive's like, oh, thank God.
They have a moment first. They have this long moment where, like, Heart's like, we're not so different, you and I, and Shinosuke's like, holy shit, we're not.
Yeah, they both have a concept of mercy and fairness, in some ways. So, Heart walks off, Drive's like, oh, thank fucking God, I couldn't have handled that. Jeez. Heart walks off, he bumps into Medic, Medic's like, oh, Heart, I'm sorry, and Heart just fucking walks, he looks right through her and walks right past her.
Fucking cold as ice.
Medic's like, and she imagines...
My husbando!
Yeah, really, she imagines life together with Heart, and what if Heart liked me? What if Heart Senpai noticed me? Maybe everything would be better. But Heart hates her now because she's murdering roid mutes. So there's that. The team picks up Shinosuke, the whole SCU team, picks him up, and they start investigating the restaurant again, because obviously they're a little suspicious. And they come out and they say, okay, the roid mute is either the young guy employee, the young girl employee, or the head chef. We don't know yet. So they start investigating, they're staking the place out, and then they see the roid mute running out with the sauce. So they fight it, and there's a big fight, and they separate it, and it turns out the culprits are the girl who was the roid mute and the head chef who was the one who was fusing with the roid mute. And yeah, Jeff, you sort of half called this one.
Yeah, I half called it. I didn't know the head chef was going to be involved.
You were right that the young guy was innocent, though.
Yep.
The show, yeah. So they separate them, they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, I just wanted to be a really good chef, and fusing with the roid mute made my taste buds way more sensitive, like Daredevil. So, it made me, able to make this delicious sauce, but the downside was that I have to work for roid mutes. I'm so sorry. Drive's like, well, I still gotta fucking arrest you, you're a criminal. And he goes, and he fuses with the roid mute and runs off. And then Chase goes after her, and then her, him, them, and then Drive also goes after them after a short scene. There's like a little lull in the fighting a bit where he talks to the young employee. But none of that shit matters. The fight matters.
Yeah, it's like a momentary lull where he's like, I still have to arrest your guy anyway, bye.
This episode is just like a huge fucking fight scene. But
yeah,
there's like a 2 seconds where people aren't flip-kicking each other, and then Drive runs off, and there's a huge fight scene. There's a big, long-ass fucking fight scene, and then Mach appears, so it's all the 3 Kamen Riders, and they're fighting the chef, and Heart's there, and Medic's there, and there's a big clusterfuck fight. But the Riders eventually win, and in the process the sauce gets broken and spilled on the ground, and Medic had she had perfected it. So apparently that would have turned you gold if you touched it, I don't know.
Supposedly. She fucking breaks down crying, and Mach's like, finally, my chance to kill a woman who's crying.
Maha's like, yeah, she's down and she's crying tears. Flip kick her!
Time to kill.
And Drive jumps in the way.
Drive's like, no, a crying woman! I must abandon all intelligence!
He takes the kick right on the chin. Everyone's like, Drive, what the fuck are you doing? And Drive's like, I can't. She's defenseless. It's not cool. And then Heart comes out and he's like, wow, when I said earlier, Shinosuke, that we're not so different, you and I, we really aren't so different, you and I. And this makes me so joyful.
Dun dun dun!
And he turns gold. And the riders run off, and they're like, oh no.
Interestingly enough,
what?
He turns gold, but then immediately transforms back because they aren't done with the suit, I imagine.
It's weird because they don't show it Yeah, you're right. They don't show it straight up. They just show it as the regular heart suit with a bunch of gold special effects over it.
Yeah, they're not done, spray painting that shit. It was still wet, so they needed to just use special effects.
I guess so. They couldn't do it on set. They can't spray paint the suit. You gotta use it. So Hart just immediately turns back, and he reveals that the promised number is 4.
Yeah, that was kind of anticlimactic, wasn't it? Like, the promised number. By the way, it's 4.
4.
Anyway, bye.
Once 4 of us hit maximum evolution, then something good's gonna happen.
We're gonna subjugate humanity. He reveals that the goal of the Roid Mutes is not to kill humanity, but to subjugate them so that they can see how great Roid Mutes are and how much better they are than human beings.
That's as noble a goal as any, I think.
Yeah, it's noble as hell.
So that whole business goes down, and then you see Tony Stark dressed up all evil at the very end. And he's walking, and he's like, who's gonna win? Humans or Roid Mutes? And then he walks off.
And he walks off to be Chris Peppler elsewhere.
So, Jeff, what did you think of Kamen Rider Drive episode 38?
The first thing I want to say is that the villains are a lot more sympathetic in this episode than the heroes are.
Yeah.
Especially Mock's fucking bloodlust.
Mock appears in the fight, and they're like, oh, Mock, you showed up to help out, that's great. And he's like, oh, don't get me wrong, I'm just here to murder Roid Mutes.
I don't give a shit about anything else, just killing.
Let's kill all of them.
I'm done chilling. It's time for killing.
Ugh.
It's such a painful scene, like, Medic is on the ground crying, and you actually feel some sort of emotion towards her for a minute. And before you have time to be like, oh wait, this bitch was, like, experimenting on and murdering her own kind. You don't have time to realize that. Mock's like, oh, perfect, time to kill her! And, like, starts running at her. And I was excited that Shinosuke actually protects her. I was like, finally, one of you fucking is not a psychopath for a second.
Mock is like a Dungeons & Dragons player character. We're like, oh, the villain's down! Cut his head off! Murder him, throw him down the canyon!
She's crying about her lost love. Perfect time to kill her.
Yeah, she's vulnerable. If she's setting up the coup de grace like that, it's really her fault.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That's a normal person way to look at it.
Absolutely. I do agree with you that it's nice to have Drive have this little hero moment where he says, oh, you know, even Roid Mutes' lives maybe have some value to them. We've seen good Roid Mutes in the past. We got Chase here.
We were actually talking about that. I don't know if it was last episode, but we were talking about how remorseless the heroes seem to be for, like, murdering Roid Mutes, even though they know that Roid Mutes can be good.
Yeah, they're like, yeah,
and now we're actually...
Kill all those Roid Mutes.
We're actually seeing some of that now. Like, Shinosuke's like, holy shit, maybe I've been killing some nice people.
Maybe. I hope that gets explored.
He does specifically say Hearts and Medic are kind of like Chase. He doesn't say the Roid Mutes might have emotions.
Yeah, but that's the logical extension of it, right? Is that not all Roid Mutes are, like, pure evil. I would hope that's the logical extension for the writers.
It's funny that, like, Chase is a Roid Mute, and he gave a shit less when Mock was going to kill her. He's just like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, it's fine. Chase, whatever. She was really mean.
Chase's personality is pretty much like, shit's happening, as long as people aren't getting hurt, I'm cool. Whatever.
Chase adheres to the 3 laws. He doesn't care if robots die. Just humans.
That's something that's really cool about this series. Like, I really love stories about robots and they're trying to become closer to being human.
Mm-hmm.
I've always really loved stories like that. And I thought we weren't going to get that in this series. Even though that was one of the basic premises of the Roid Mutes, it didn't seem like they were trying to be human as much as they were really trying to be spray-painted gold.
Well, I think that's a really interesting angle to explore, is maybe as they get closer to attaining the emotion, they act more emotional and human-like,
yeah.
You know? And it's cool to see that happening.
That's awesome. I actually I enjoyed this episode for what it was, but I understand it's not like the previous episodes where we got so much information. However, I will say that it's better than the last episode where it went back to being like a slow trickle of information. This episode kind of was like a water gun that had something stuck in the hole at the end. because they were, like, pumping the hell out of it, and there was just little bits of water flying out, little bits of information, and then it just exploded suddenly. 4's the promised number. Anyway, bye.
Yeah, Drive's kind of dropped off a little bit since we went back to since we got off the whole Shinosuke's father thing.
And there's only so much they can throw at you before you have all the information for the entire series, and there's still, like, 10 episodes left or whatever.
Yeah, and it's fine to know everything before the end, because there's still time to do stuff with the information, but Drive seems to be doling out a bit slow again.
I like the episode, but I don't think it's not up to the same level that previous episodes have been. It's a good episode, though. I wouldn't give it, like, a D- or whatever the hell you always give it.
Solid F.
God damn.
That joke is played out. Look, it wasn't...
No kidding.
It wasn't a great episode. I did have a few issues with it. There were a few things I liked as well.
Yeah.
It was decent.
Let's talk about your ideas, your issues.
My biggest issue is that last episode they try and lead you to believe that it's the other employee. You know, the young employee who is the road mute, and then at the very beginning of this episode, they're like, okay, so the road mute is either this employee or this other employee or the head chef. Like, why were you trying to get us to believe it if you weren't going to go anywhere with it?
Yeah, they didn't follow through on that very well. They should have been like, it's the guy, it's the fucking secondary chef, the sous
Like, it's
chef.
obvious that it wasn't him, but commit when you're going to do something like that.
I think maybe they got to that point where they're like, look, our viewers aren't this stupid. They know we're baiting and switching them. We might as well just go along with it.
I guess.
Or maybe it shows a bit of intellectual growth in our protagonist, that they don't immediately assume that the most obvious answer is the answer. Which is horrible detective work, by the way.
That's nice, but from a writing standpoint, it's a little weird that we, the audience, are led one way and then pulled another.
Yeah. Especially considering that this is... You can't just switch up the expectations of a character this far in the series. We know that they're bad at their fucking job. Mm-hmm. Out of universe, we understand that they're bad detectives.
Absolutely.
So we're going to see what they're doing as bad detective work, regardless of how you go around it.
Yeah. Well, most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes... Like I mentioned way earlier in this fucking series, sometimes Shinosuke is like omniscient or something. He just like knows the answer to the riddle, even though there's no fucking clues or whatsoever. Like when he needed to find the Roid Mute's hideout, he needed to find 001's hideout, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly where it is, and it's Shocker."
What? That's different. You're mixing two things together.
No, it's the same shit.
No, you're thinking about the Shocker thing with the Super Sentai crossover where they go to the Shocker base or something.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It doesn't matter. My point stands. The very beginning of my point was one thing. This is a different thing, and I was wrong.
Okay. I'm glad we've cleared that up. Other than...
You know what? Fuck you.
Fuck you. Other than
Fuck
that
you.
Look, we don't have time for this.
Go ahead.
Other than that, it was an okay episode. I liked the whole arc with Heart, where he's like, oh, we both feel emotions, and then we both kind of do the same thing sometimes. Like, we both feel for our kind, and we both, like, we take pity on opponents who are downed and unarmed and unable to fight back. And they both do that in the episode. The writers follow through with that, which is good. Which is good. And we got a bit of plot, so I'll take that. Decent episode. Not as good as what we left behind, but it was decent.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I also really like that they're playing up that, like, Heart, as the leader of the Roid Mutes and stuff, is, like, the protector of Roid Mutes. He loves them like he's their friends. Their friends and whatnot. And Shinosuke is the protector of humankind. And they're destined to face off regardless of how much they see themselves in one another.
Yeah, Heart has that good little scene with Medic where he's like, I understand you want to reach evolution, but there's 108 of us. You can't just go around killing people. There are brothers.
That was a moment when I thought his entire character was going to change for a second. Because that's a moment that, in another Kamen Rider series, in a different one, he would have been like, there's 108 of us, you can't go around killing them or whatever, and then help her up, and then he would transform and fucking kill her. Right there.
Well, it's a good thing that didn't happen.
And then be like, Yeah, now nothing can stop the Roid Mudes or whatever. Or we don't tolerate traitors, and then he'd turn gold and beat everybody up. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
I'm glad that didn't happen either. It's nice that the writers seem to be getting a little more, just aware of what makes a good plot and a good character.
They've grown.
Yeah,
they really have.
definitely.
I don't know if there was a change in staff or something. I don't really pay that much attention to staff, but if there wasn't, they have learned and grown quite a lot since the beginning of this series, and I appreciate that work.
Yeah, good episode. What do you think about the little movie promo at the end? The little 1-minute movie promo.
The movie promo was, like, pretty stereotypical of a Kamen Rider movie promo. Up until the very end, when Krim, on his giant screen, looks at the viewer after giving some, like, horrible speech about being dictator of humanity and, like, ruling over everything and there's nothing anyone can do, and says, in perfect English, "Good luck!" and winks at the screen.
That was my favorite part of the whole episode. He's like, I'm gonna destroy all of humanity with my robot army. Good luck! I'm like, what the fuck? Like, good luck surviving humanity? Like, what are you trying to say? Like, I loved it.
Krim is the best villain, and the preview and stuff was edited in such a way that it really made it seem like not just the future Krim was evil, but the past Krim was also evil, and was just pretending to be a good guy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, because there's a bit where you see Type Trideron, Shinosuke, like, his Type Trideron, and Krim takes over and he's fighting Mach, and that's present day. So
yeah, and Mach's like, I can't stop him, he's a madman, he's going to kill me. And I wonder if that's just clever editing or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait to find out, like, 7 years when we get the movie on DVD. Because we can't watch it when it comes out in theaters.
No. There's also, one of the things that stood out to me was that Krim Steinbelt is wearing belt sand around his waist.
Yep. Confusing.
So, what I'm thinking is that the Krim Steinbelt that we see is like a Roidmude shell, like the one that, what's-his-face was in, Lupin.
Yeah.
It's like the shell that he created for himself before, and he's actually in the belt, and he's taking it over in the same way that he takes over Type Trideron.
What if, riddle me this, before Krim died he uploaded his consciousness into a belt in the show?
Yes, sir.
What if he uploaded his consciousness into the belt, and then just activated the belt while he was still alive, and then there's the power of two Krims working together?
But he was dying when he made the belt.
But what if in this future evil continuity, he was like, I'm just going to put me in this belt, like a copy of me, and then there's going to be two Krims.
That's too much Chris Peppler for me.
No such thing as too much Chris Peppler. There's
a limit.
There's at least 3 Krims, because there's Krim Steinbelt wearing Krim Steinbelt, and then there's Dark Drive, who is also wearing Krim Steinbelt. That's 3 Chris Pepplers. What are you?
And then Drive has a Chris Peppler.
4 Chris Pepplers. What are you gonna do?
Jesus. I'm getting overload, man. Sensory fucking overload.
No, just fucking drown me in Chris Pepplers. I'll take it. Any Chris Pepplers that Jeff does not accept, please forward them to my address.
123 Fake Street. Send all your Chris
123
Pepplers.
Soji Avenue.
They named it after you. That's good.
Why do you think I live here?
Yeah, that movie has really piqued my interest in a way that none of the other Rider movies recently has.
Really?
Yeah, because it seems like, at least they're selling it like, it's going to have actual consequences on the series. And it won't.
Yeah.
But they're selling it like it is, and they haven't really done that. It's obvious that the movies are standalone during all the, like, previews and little clips and whatnot, regardless of how many crossover episodes they shove in after the series is over.
Yeah,
Where JM shows up and there's fucking no reason for it.
Like I said before, I guess we're gonna have to wait for the movie, but I'm with you on this one. I doubt it's gonna have more than like maybe like a slight recontextualization of the events of the show, but it's not gonna be like a required viewing. I doubt it's gonna matter. Speaking of which,
I mean, it might get mentioned in the same way that, like, Lupin got mentioned in the series.
It's funny you should say Lupin. Did you see this? There are set photos of Drive, the show. Not any movies, the show. where somebody on set is wearing Lupin's outfit.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Huh. See, I really love that they're tying in the movies more heavily to the show. Drive has done a pretty good job of that, because other movies aren't even mentioned in their damn shows.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, if the movies are good, I'd like that they be tied in.
Yeah, I don't really want, like, Heisei vs. Showa to get tied into the series that's happening at the time.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. Man, fuck Heisei vs. Showa.
Hey, Koda, do you remember that one time you saved all our lives by loving a flower too much?
Remember that time all those other riders appeared and we spent like an afternoon beating the shit out of each other? That was rough.
That was a good day.
Motorcycles and a man on fire, and I killed a guy with a trident.
Good reference. I had not seen the Lupin set photos. I'm behind on my rider news. I've been overloaded with that shit, so why don't we get into some of it?
Speaking of, overloading on rider news, Toei stole my idea, Kamen Rider Ghost, and all the details surfaced this week.
And they stole all their details.
They stole all the details from me as well. I had this written down extensively before Toei ever had anything. But this is what we've learned. This is the story, okay? I took this from a translation that was provided on a Tumblr. That's all Ghost news. I'll link that in the description of the blog post. Don't worry, that'll be there. This is what it says. Our hero, Takeru Tenkuji, aims to become a ghost hunter. One day, a mysterious eyeball called the Ghost Icon, brackets self-soul, is sent to him by his deceased father. However, Takeru ends up being killed by a Ganma, a monster from another world, that was after the Ghost Icon. In order to save his childhood friend Akari from the Ganma, Takeru is granted a temporary life by using the Ghost Icon with the Ghost Driver to become a Kamen Rider. Now as Kamen Rider Ghost, Takeru must travel the world to collect the 15 Ghost Icons of great men in 99 days, so he can be granted one wish. Takeru is thrown into a war that might change the fate of the world itself.
I want to point out that this plot is pretty much like Yu Yu Hakusho pushed together with Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts.
I didn't read Yu Yu Hakusho, but I did see enough episodes of Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts that I know what you're talking about.
Maybe Vincent Price's head will be his sidekick.
Vincent Price eyeball, there you go.
There we go, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's another one, Toei.
Yeah, also, Fashion Rider was kind of fucking real.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because the Ghost Icons are different outfits that go on top of the suits.
Yeah, they're like the robe hoodies. I'm pretty sure they change more than just the hoodie thing.
Yeah, they do.
But speaking of, I guess since we're on this, what do you think of the costumes?
Dude, I think it's sick.
I love it.
I do too. I think it looks fucking great.
The whole, Kamen Rider suit with clothes on top, I think looks cool as shit.
Yeah, the coolest thing about it is that the suit comes out of his belt, like the Flash's costume comes flying out of his costume ring.
Yeah.
But it's not a costume at that point. It's a fucking ghost. Like, his hoodie is like the hood on a ghost man, and it flies up and envelops him, and he becomes Kamen Rider that way.
Yeah, he's got the hoodie, and then sticking out at the front, he's got, the horn. It's really nifty looking.
Sick. It really does.
All this Ghost info, I'm going to link to the Tumblr that has all of it. So you'll be able to go down there. It's just one link. It's going to be all there. So check that out for sure. We've gotten a base form, which is orange, and that's Self-Soul. He transforms using these little eyeball thingies called icons, and each one has somebody's soul in it that he uses to turn in the soulless form. So Self-Soul is his own soul because he's dead, I assume.
Yes.
But we've also seen a Thomas Edison form that got revealed. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. Thomas Edison, of all people. I guess the Japanese still have a little bit of love for Thomas Edison because they don't really know his history in the same way that Americans do now.
Do Japanese people know
Canadians do now.
Yeah, do Japanese people know Tesla?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I don't know anything about Japanese people's knowledge of Tesla.
The thing about Thomas Edison is he didn't just fuck over Tesla. Thomas Edison had 1,000 and some patents, and almost every single one of them was stolen from another scientist.
But not just that. I'm just saying, Tesla would be a better alternative for an electricity
absolutely.
form. Yeah,
absolutely. He was the Wizard of Menlo Park.
Yeah, he was he was basically a literal electricity wizard in real life, for his time at least.
Well, they didn't want to include anything that had wizard in it anymore after the last time.
It's too late. And we've also seen Robin Hood. Did you see the Robin Hood form?
I did not see the Robin Hood form. I'm going to guess it's green.
Yeah. Good guess. It's green, and the visor is like a bow with an arrow sticking through the center of it, facing down. It looks really cool. It's probably going to be a bow form, I'm almost certain.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
the famous character from real history, Robin Hood, is going to be in this show. We also
Robin of Locksley.
We also have Benkei, Nobunaga, King Tut, Billy the Kid, and Beethoven, and I'm sure there's a couple others that I've forgotten about that have been confirmed. That's quite a cast.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
Billy the Kid?
I am super excited about this shit.
That's gonna be cool. And
it's gonna be a cool gunslinger form. I can't wait for that.
He's apparently gonna have a bunch of forms right from the start, like Wizard.
And Drive.
No, Drive had type speed, and then he got the rest. Ghost is going to have forms available.
In the very first episode, he started using shift car.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought you meant, like, these are more than shift cars, I think. This is like this is like type speed to type wild sort of thing. Like, he's going to have a few ready right from the start. So that's pretty cool. And did you see his bike?
Oh, yeah, his fucking giant iguana, you mean?
He's got a bike, he's got a regular bike, which is, I think, called the Ghost Striker, which is
It looks pretty damn cool.
And then he's got a pirate ship that I don't know, I guess he rides it or he surfs on it or something.
It's like a ghost ship.
Yeah, it's like the Flying Dutchman. Obviously, the logical conclusion is when you mix a pirate ship and a bike, you get a giant iguana that he rides on.
What the fuck? And the thing is, it's not like a robot iguana. It has, like, robot parts on it, but it's just a big fucking iguana.
Is it going to be like a ghost of his pet iguana, do you think? Like he's going to like, oh no,
I really hope so.
Danny, my iguana. Oh no.
He was holding his pet iguana when he got killed.
Those plot details, man, that's crazy. I didn't think there would be actually a dead person as the protagonist of a ghost show.
Straight up. That's why I was comparing it to Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
Because in the very first episode, Yusuke dies.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for the first fucking 10 minutes of the episode.
See, I was expecting Shaman King, where it's someone who's alive but who can speak to ghosts and do the power thing with the ghosts.
No, sir.
But now we're getting this craziness. That's cool. I like it.
I am excited, man. This looks awesome.
Very excited. All the details we've seen so far are promising. So I give my seal of approval. And Jeff, I asked this on Twitter, but I don't think you got the chance to answer. If you could add one historical figure to the cast, what would you add? What form do you
I actually did answer that with a fucking joke.
You gave a smarmy, shitty answer. Give a real answer.
Go to the Twitter to see my stupid, shitty joke.
Follow us on Twitter at Rider Club Radio.
There you go. If I could have one historical figure be involved, I think that you were on the right fucking track. Like, having a Romance of the Three Kingdoms character involved would be fucking awesome. Like, maybe Lu Bu, he's the most famous.
Yeah,
or like,
I think Liu Bei would be more likely than Lu Bu. Lu Bu would be awesome, but...
Like, that would be killer, but if I had to pick, like, one person from history to have a form based around, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Why don't you tell me yours? Like, go into detail about what you would like to see from yours, and I'll think on mine.
I would want... This might be weird, but I don't think it's any weirder than Beethoven. I want Lorenzo de Medici.
Oh, yeah.
He was a patron of the arts, so he could have art powers.
Yeah, that would be cool.
He could goop you with paint, or like...
See, I was going to go for an artist.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to decide between Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci.
There's a lot of good Renaissance figures you could pull from.
Yeah, I definitely think Leonardo da Vinci would be a great form, because not only could he have, like, a paint theme or whatever, but he could also have, like, a theme of invention.
Oh, yeah. You could have a flying machine or something
sick.
like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He could have, like, shitty flying wings that he could put on his suit.
That'd be pretty sick. Apparently Ghost can already fly. He floats around like a ghost when he fights.
Oh, he is a ghost.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Hopefully that's not a bunch of, like, really shitty special effects during every fight scene, then.
That's what I was just gonna say, is I'm praying to God, like, if flying in Kamen Rider is always a little iffy looking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they don't overuse that, unless they can make it look good. But we'll have to wait and see.
You know what would be great as a form for, like, every Kamen Rider has an episode where it's Christmas?
Yeah?
What if, like, St. Nicholas
Oh.
was a form? That would be great.
He throws presents.
Yeah. He throws, like, gold coins so girls can get married.
Yay! What if it was Brutus and the form just stabs you in the throat?
Then he feels real fucking bad about it afterwards. Why do I feel this overwhelming sense of regret? It's part of the form.
Yeah. When Brutus stabs you, you don't blow up. You just bleed out on the floor.
You just fall over and bleed slowly to death.
It's awful.
It's brutal.
That wasn't even intended, but there it is. I laid it out.
Fucking prick.
That was an accidentally dropped pun. I'm sorry.
What about like a chieftain, like a Sitting Bull?
Oh, like a Native American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
like
pretty sweet.
Tecumseh, someone like that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
There's tons of
There's
different...
a million. There's a million.
And we're only going to have 15, so...
Which is still a lot,
It's
plenty.
It's plenty, but like when you introduce a theme like history, your brain goes all over the place. Like, oh, this, there's like a billion different people, so narrowing it down to 15 is going to be crazy.
Can I tell why you're so excited about a history theme?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Our pal Liam here was a history major when he was in school.
Yep.
So
I took the
that
most
is
useful
exactly
degree.
why he's most excited about it. I was a major in ghost hunting, so that's why I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, we both have our lot in this series in one way or another.
I'm really looking forward to it, and the news is like rolling out like, and again, the Rider Club Radio curse fucking hit us. It was revealed the day after we posted the new episode.
Well, now we have lots of nice, juicy news for our podcast this week.
Yeah, news that everyone already fucking knows.
So we don't report the news; we just comment on it. It's fine.
Yeah, we're here to talk shit about the news.
I'm a little glad that we did it a day late today because there were more details revealed just today. There's probably going to be more tomorrow and the day after. They're just spilling out. The floodgates are open.
That does not count for the Rider Club Radio curse, by the way. We know shit's going to keep being revealed this week.
There was one guy on Twitter who, when I asked who do you want to be in as a historical figure, user @PastAlegiance said, Shotaro Ishinomori, has he been dead for long enough yet? And I was bro, that's... I don't know if that's a great idea or a really disrespectful idea or a really disrespectful and great idea.
You know it's going to happen.
That would be nice. But then again, like I said...
There's at least going to be some art for a Ishinomori form.
Yeah, there's going to be some art. But would the Japanese, take offense to that?
See, I don't know.
He's recently... Relatively.
There are some things that the Japanese just do not take offense to that we would.
Yeah.
There's a different sort of, offense level type of thing happening there. But when it comes to, people who have just died, in 15 years' time or something...
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
We'll have to wait and see. Just like everything else with Ghost.
I am super psyched for Ghost, which means it's going to be really bad. You heard it here first.
I've got high hopes as well. I think it's going to be cool.
It seems like every Rider series that I see previews for, and I'm like, holy shit, that looks really cool. I watch it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is really bad. And if I watch the previews and I'm like, that looks dumb as shit, it ends up being, really great.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes Rider can sneak up on you like that.
So I'm foreseeing that Ghost looks awesome, it's gonna be poopy.
Don't do that. Don't say
Here's
that.
hoping that I'm wrong.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that Jeff is wrong. Jeff is usually wrong, so we probably have nothing to worry about.
I'm diving in the deep end so that you guys can get a good series. I hope you're happy.
Yeah. Smaller news, not nearly as important news. The Drivecast received their final script this past week. The show is going to be over very soon. We're 38. We're very close.
Oh, yeah. Do we know the episode count for this series?
Oh, I think it's... Someone told me it's 46 or something. It's mid-40s.
I was thinking 46, 47.
Yeah, so it's mid-40s. It's going to be over. So we're damn close.
Really close.
Yeah.
And the podcast is over when the show is over, so fucking deal with it.
I'm actually going to die when the show is over, so...
I've completed my task in life. Time to finally leave.
I'm gonna start a new podcast about, like, I don't know, galvanized nail brands or something.
Dude, can I be on that?
No.
Oh. But I love the 10-penny.
Drive's ending soon. That's our big news. Drive's gonna be over soon.
That's the end of it.
Prepare your napkins.
There was other smaller news that happened, like toy news that we never talk about, so...
Drive got some new toys. Oh, we didn't mention this about Ghost. There's Kamen Rider Spectre is coming too.
Yeah.
We already have Kamen Rider
secondary
Spectre.
rider.
So do you think it's gonna start with both of them? Or, because like when Drive was revealed, we just saw Drive, and we didn't see Mach until later. But here we have...
but think about when Gaim was revealed. We saw fucking Acorn Man. I almost called him Ornak.
Ornak is an acceptable name.
Fucking Ornak.
We got a bunch... Well, that was because Gaim was a multi-rider series.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to have a shitload of riders.
Maybe Ghost will have more than 2 riders.
Maybe. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how many you're going to be able to fit in there. Like, I don't know what icon Spectre is going to use if there's only 15 to go around.
There have been whispers, hushed whispers, that Drive's toy sales have been pretty abysmal.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot over the course of like a few episodes. That Drive's toy sales are...
It might be that the reason we're getting 2 Kamen Riders at the very beginning of the series is so they can sell twice as much merchandise right up front.
Yeah, that's true. You think icons are going to be cool?
I don't know.
Apparently they have
you discovered
QR codes.
You discovered that they had QR codes.
So
yeah.
that's going to be twice as many monies that I'm going to need to be paid, Toei. I'll take that in cash, thank you.
Yeah, he came up with QR codes. He created them, so he needs royalties.
I came up with QR code Kamen Riders.
Yeah, I really hope that the QR codes take you to something really cool when you scan them with your phone.
I think it's to, like, little games. Little browser games.
That sounds like it could be pretty neat.
That's better than, like, just the official website or something like that.
Yeah, that would be so shitty.
It's
if
like
they all took you to the same website.
Yeah, like, scan the Thomas Edison QR code to play, I don't know, Thomas Edison Kamen Rider Bowling or something like that. I don't fucking know.
That sounds exactly like what's going to be on it.
Thomas Edison Tower Defense.
Like, you scan
Defend
it
your
and it
stolen
takes you
copyrights.
That was the exact fucking joke I was gonna
BAM! Sniped
Stolen.
it! Yeah.
Damn.
So that's Ghost. I can't stop talking about it. I'm pretty fucking hype.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
We watched Ultraman X this week.
Oh yeah, we did. Thanks again to Low Visibility for giving us the guest pass so that we could watch on Crunchyroll.
We love you.
You're the greatest.
What did you think of episode 1?
I think you said it best. I'm really not used to special effects that good in Tokusatsu.
Yeah, Ultraman's not made by Toei. It's made by Subaraya.
Yeah, Subaraya. And not only like the special effects, I'm going to be talking more about the special effects here, but I'm talking like the CG was pretty damn good, but also the practical effects were fucking top notch.
Yeah.
It was like straight up old school like monster movie like Godzilla or Gamera. The miniature work was amazing. Like the choreography was pretty damn good. They seemed like they were giants fighting.
The cinematography and the choreography was great. It had a great sense of scale to the fights.
Yeah. And it had like a good sense of humor about it. It wasn't forced humor. Yeah. It seemed like it really fit the situation. Like there's a part where the main character and Ultraman become one for the first time, and he thinks he's like 1,000,000 feet up in the air because he's seeing from up there.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do heights.
He gets scared of heights.
And he's like leaning on a building. He's like,
It's really awesome. Like, I've never really gotten super into Ultraman. I've watched a bunch of the old movies, but I watched them with more like as a curiosity than something I was really into. But Ultraman X is really drawing me in. I'm pretty excited for it.
This is the first Ultraman thing I've ever watched in my life, and I think it's cool as fuck.
It is, and the fact that there's so much practical effects in it is great. It's really exciting to me.
I was going to say that in Super Sentai, when you see a giant monster, it always looks like a guy in a suit. because they avoid composite shots, and they don't, like, try very hard with the cinematography. It's just, it feels cheap. But in Ultraman X, there's tons of compositing, there's tons of good set work and good practical effects, and even though you can, like, your brain says, oh, it's a guy in a suit, it's a lot easier to just settle in and, like, it looks like a monster fight enough.
It does.
You can believe it.
There's a big difference between the fights in, like, Super Sentai and, say, like, Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
In Godzilla movies, the characters have a sense of weight to them. They move in a more deliberate manner, in the same way that, like, giant things would.
Mm-hmm.
And in Super Sentai, the monsters and the, like, Zords, for lack of a better word.
There's giant robots, you don't have to call them Zords.
Giant robots. The giant robots and the monsters move in sort of a herky-jerky kind of way, and they move, like, over-dramatically for everything.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a stage acting kind of thing, where they're overacting for scale, but it's in the wrong scale. They're acting as if you're seeing them from far away.
Yeah. And you only ever see them interact with, like, balsa wood buildings and shit. You never see a shot with a monster, or it's not never, but not very often you see a shot with a monster and a normal-sized person in it. You know what I mean? Like, with the compositing, whereas Ultraman had tons of that, and it made it look great.
I think the difference is Super Sentai's main draw isn't the giant robots, really. It's the suit action on the ground of the characters and stuff. The giant robots are always just the climax scene.
Yeah.
So they don't really need to put as much time and care into it as Ultraman does, since that's the entire focus of the series.
Yeah. I
also like that the secondary characters that we were introduced to in this episode have a purpose. That's really nice.
Yeah, for now.
They're like the Earth Defense Force or whatever.
Zeo. Yeah. I like that. I also love this. The main character has a little, like, terminal sort of thing, like a smartphone kind of thing, where Ultraman lives. It reminded me...
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I love it. It looks cool. The screen is cool. It reminds me of a PET from Mega Man Battle Network. Those of you who played Mega Man...
Oh, man, it does. PET Ultraman.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
Because you have your little buddy that lives in the machine that you carry around, and then you call him out and you fight with him. It's really neat.
You know, I actually really want the little, like, LED Ultraman as a wallpaper for my cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really cool.
That'd be awesome.
So I hope that becomes available at some point.
I bet it'd be easy to make, even. The art is very geometric. Yeah. That's cool.
I might do that at some point.
Ultraman X, thumbs up. I'm probably going to keep watching this. Jeff, did we get any mail this week?
What does that have to do with shit, Liam? We did get mail.
We got a lot of mail.
We got a shit ton, so I'm sorry if we don't read your letter. Alright, first up are some questions we got from the Kamen Rider General.
Hey!
We got 2 questions here. Well, actually, we got 3 questions.
Okay.
Anyway, question 1. Favorite main villain in Heisei and why, Liam? Go!
Oh, Christ. Favorite main villain in Heisei and why? Well, definitely not Kabuto's villain. That was shit. Gime's villain, Drive, I don't know if we even know who the main villain's gonna be yet.
Heart's a pretty damn good villain so
If
far.
Heart ends up being the main villain, then yeah.
They're pushing him real hard. They never called him the leader of the Roid Mudes until 001 died, and now they call him that all the fucking time.
Yeah, he could be second in command, but what if he dies in the next episode, or the episode after that? Then what?
Yeah.
You don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say...
Who's your fucking favorite?
I'm gonna say, I don't know if he counts as a villain, but I'm gonna say Kenzaki Shiro from...
I knew it was gonna be him. I knew it.
I love Kenzaki Shiro.
He's a good villain.
He's the way he stands around in dark rooms and goes, "Datakai." At first he's kind of funny. He's like this, like, I'm a fucking weirdo sort of fellow. But he has a backstory that I like a lot.
And he's pretty chilling sometimes.
He has that angle that I really like, where he's like, he gives you the dark contract. He appears mysteriously through a mirror and gives you the dark contract. It's like an urban legend, the way he comes out and gives you the deck. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool setup, and he does have a very I don't want to say anything about his backstory because it's a spoiler, but he has a good backstory in the end that I like. It justifies his actions, I think, somewhat. He's still a bad guy, but what about you?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
My favorite villain is absolutely, without a doubt, the main villain of Kuga, who I will not talk about because Liam is watching it right now.
Thank you.
That is all I'm going to say on it. Question 2, have you seen Garo? If I recall, Decado himself is a villain in Goldstorm. Have you seen Garo, Liam?
Nope.
Dude, you need to watch Garo. It's actually pretty fucking sweet.
I've heard a lot of very cool things.
I've watched about half the first season of it.
I've heard a lot of very cool things about Garo, and from you and from, random people on the internet, and Garo's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'll watch that someday, but I'm not in a hurry. Maybe I'll check it out.
I got in a hurry when I started reading about it, because it has an entire world built up around it that has lore in it.
Really?
And I love me some lore. If anybody knows me, I'm all into the Souls games and Bloodborne and shit. I'm all into lore.
Jeff likes reading those item descriptions, so...
You know it. Garo is a series full of item descriptions.
The whole thing is the main character picking up items.
Someday. Garo is some of the sweetest fucking out-of-suit action I've ever seen in my life. Like, there's no bullshit like running up and hugging them because you can't really fight that much, or doing a really shitty spin kick because you're not really a trained martial artist. Yeah. There's like not only really awesome hand-to-hand combat with cool-ass real flips and real kicks, like that scene when Mach and Chaser were fighting against Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Italy and America.
Yeah.
That scene
real
was sweet.
Kung Fu.
And that's straight up every fight scene in Garo.
It's that raw Kung Fu thing we're always talking about.
Hell yeah. And not only that, there's sword fighting, and it's the sweetest fucking sword fighting that I've seen in any television series.
I've actually seen some footage floating around of some sword fights from Goldstorm.
Oh yeah,
man,
Goldstorm
those are cool.
Goldstorm takes it to another level.
Yeah,
they amps up the game.
It looks fantastic, those sword fights. So yes, I have not seen Garo. Jeff has seen Garo. I've not seen Garo. I will see it someday.
Inoue is in it.
Yeah, Masahiro Inoue, yeah.
Masahiro Inoue is in it as a villain in Goldstorm, and he enjoys every second of playing a villain. He is so into it. He's really good. I haven't seen full episodes. I've seen clips, because I'm not trying to spoil myself on what happens like 2 generations after the character I'm watching right now.
Mm.
I actually answered both of those questions in the general like an idiot, because I didn't know he was asking me to do it on the podcast. So he asked a third question: what is your 10 out of 10 moment in Kamen Rider or Toko in general? Liam?
In Kabuto, there's a scene very early on in Kabuto where, this isn't too much of a spoiler, it happens like episode 3, where a worm comes back and copies Kagami's dead brother. And Kagami thinks it's his brother who's like, wasn't dead this whole time and has come back. And Kagami's like, oh my god, you're here! Wow, it's amazing! And everybody knows this guy's a worm except for Kagami. He's the only one who doesn't want to believe it. So, Kabuto comes to fight the worm, and Kagami is like torn onto whether he actually wants Kabuto to finish the worm off or not, because the worm is like the last sort of remnant of his brother. So he's like, I don't know, and Kabuto is standing there, like, transformed, letting the worm beat on him, and he's like, I'm not going to touch him until you give me the okay, it's your brother. And finally, it starts raining very, very heavily, and Kagami goes, Kabuto, do it, or something like that. And then the music kicks in, and it's like, dun, 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 and Kabuto clocks up in the rain, and the rain freezes in the air, and he and this worm are just, like, going at it, like, punching each other back and forth, and they're punching through the rain, and you can see the rain, like, splashing off of their fists and off of their bodies when they move.
It is pretty damn sick.
It's the coolest scene, I think, in Kamen Rider history. I've never seen a cooler scene than that scene. You should go watch it. It's on YouTube. That's mine. What's yours, Jeff?
My 10 out of 10 scene in all of Kamen Rider. That's tough. I will give you a 10 out of 10 scene that's one of my absolute favorites, but I don't know if it's the favorite. But I talk about it all the time, how great Kamen Rider Double A to Z, the Gaia Memories of Fate, is. And it's my 10 out of 10 scene is the scene where Shotaro transforms into Kamen Rider Joker for the first time, and he proceeds to, like, beat the holy shit out of the girl who was kicking his ass, and defeat her. Then he defeats everyone in his fucking path as he runs to rescue his best friend. And it is some of the coolest fight scenes that I've seen in Kamen Rider, and you're just amped the whole time. And his theme song is playing, and his theme song is awesome. And there's, like, mooks that show up and he fights them. And he does that sweet shit where he leaps off a motorcycle and punches somebody.
That sounds hype as shit.
It's hype as shit, and it's also, like, extra awesome because he's going to save his bro.
Yeah. The bromance.
It might be a romance, I don't know, but he's there to save him, and it's awesome.
That's from Guy Memories of Fate, is it?
Yes, sir.
That sounds pretty cool. I will look forward to watching that.
It's awesome. That's one of my 10 out of 10 moments. I got a million.
I'm sure you got a billion. Okay.
What's the next email on the docket?
This next one is from a fellow named Edgar. And he says, "Hey, Dragon Club Radio. Hey, I think you got the wrong podcast. Just started listening to the podcast. Really liking it so far. I think you guys should keep those tangents in. It gives the podcast some personality." Okay. Anyways,
right.
My question for the podcast is, what riders would you like to see swapped into each other's shows? For example, would you like to see Tendo replace Koda in Gaim, or Hongo replacing Takumi in Faiz, or some dumb bullshit? Jeff, what do you think? What's your answer?
I would like to see Hongo replace any rider in any series. I just think that would make such a difference in the way the series goes that it would be amazing to see.
I had a feeling you were going to say something like that.
Absolutely. But if I also feel that way about Godai, having Kuga replace anybody in any series. I think that would make the world of difference, and it would just be amazing.
If Hongo was in any Heisei series, they'd get to a point where, like, one of their friends betrays them or something, and where the Heisei rider will go, "Oh, I don't know what to do," Hongo will do the pose, and then he'll do a flip kick, and then he'll kick the guy in the head, and then he'll fall down and see the error of his ways, and that's going to be the whole arc. It's like 15 episodes compressed into one, like, 3 shots.
Yeah. Instead of being, like, the bad guy, his friend would be like, "Actually, I'm a bad guy, and I've turned you over to the bad guys, ha 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 ha, but we're friends, what are you gonna do about it?" And Hongo would be like, "Why does that matter? You're not a friend of justice!" And then he'd kick him.
You're dead, friend.
He wouldn't kill him, because he's a human.
That's true.
But he would rough him up.
He would flip kick him, yeah. A couple times.
It would be awesome. He might kill him, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on what era we're talking about. If we're talking about, like, blue-green suit, he'd kill the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
But, what about you, Liam?
I would want to see, I would want to see Tendo in the place of Shinosuke right now.
Really?
I think that would be a real good time. Because Shinosuke...
He would have just killed the shit out of Medic.
Shinosuke is like this really laid-back... Well, he starts as a kind of a laid-back guy. He's kind of lazy. Which is the exact, like, ultimate opposite of Tendo.
That's true.
And, yeah, like you said, in this episode, Mach would have done the flip kick. He would have been like, "Oh, time to kill Medic! She's open!" And then Tendo would be like, Yeah, that's good. Yeah, she's open, kill her.
Like... Mach would have been leaping in to kill her, and then Tendo would have just walked up to her before he got to her and did his fucking spin kick. And killed her before Mach even got there.
Grandmother said this: "Sauce is for eating, not for turning robots into fiery monsters." And then he'd do a little spin kick.
Dude, Grandma was very specifically wise to very specific situations.
Yeah, if you watched Kabuto, you would know that. She has a phrase for everything.
Did this woman ever shut up, is my question. She has so many fucking phrases.
"Hey, Grandma, what's for dinner?" "The moss grows on the rock, but it does not know why." "Grandma, I'm really hungry."
I'm gonna remember that, though. So I can spout it off to somebody later when they say something that annoys me. So that would be your one. You would want Kabuto instead of Drive.
That's my choice.
Alright. I can see that.
Yeah.
Let's move on. This next one is from Ian.
Sup.
Ian says, what monster ally group, i.e. Imagines from Den-O, Arms monsters from Kiva, Mirror monsters from Ryuki, are your favorite? Thanks for your hard work and keep on going. Hey, thank you for listening. My favorite are actually the Imagines from Den-O. They have such over-the-top personalities, and as each one was introduced, I got more excited to meet the next one.
That's a good one.
So that's my answer.
I'm gonna say Mirror monsters. I like how they're not...
They were like Pokemon.
They're like Pokemon, except they'll fucking kill you if you stop feeding them. Which is it's a cool dynamic where, like, you think Drag Redder is Shinji's friend, and then he stops feeding Drag Redder, and Drag Redder starts trying to eat him, and you're like,
they're not
really
friends.
Is just a monster who's just hanging around with him because he's got food. So that's kind of cool. I like that.
That is cool. There aren't all that many monster ally groups, though.
You listed all of them, Ian.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks.
Thanks for your questions.
Now we have one from Timeline 15. And Timeline 15 says, "Hi guys, I just found your show. I've been looking for something like it for a while, so it was really nice to find out about it." You're welcome, friend. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, buddy.
I was amazed when that question about inserting Nirai into an older show was asked, and I instantly went Fies, and the both of you immediately also said Fies. It's an obvious
good
choice.
Taste knows good taste.
Yeah. Great minds and all that. My actual question, if you could make one change to any specific Rider show, which show and what would you change? Jeff, what do you think?
I would change Kiva to be a good show.
Alright, moving right along to the next question then.
No, the theme of Kiva is actually pretty cool. Like, it has, like, a time-traveling motif, and it has, like, a gothic horror, like, classic monster movie kind of motif. It could have been, like, Kamen Rider Castlevania. Instead, it was Kamen Rider whiny bitch wants to be like his dad and can't.
Yeah, what a great show.
That's my answer. I had really high hopes when I heard about Kiva, and it dashed them all on the rocks below.
Oh, well.
What about you?
I got two, actually.
Okay.
I would make Ryuki actually include the promised 13 riders in the show, please.
That would be good.
Fucking Kamen Rider Odin appears, and he's like, I am the 13th rider. There are 12 before me. And then at the end of the show, there's like 10 total.
Yeah, you're like, and wait a minute now.
You're like, hang on, I have a question, writers.
Where's the math here?
Something is missing, and you gotta wait for the fucking movie, or the TV special, the 13 Riders TV special, you idiot.
Like, the movies of the TV special, the writers were like, holy shit, we forgot something.
And they were terrible.
Oh, yeah.
They're awful. The movie episode final and the 13 Riders TV special, terrible, terrible pieces of cinema. They're irredeemable. I can't suggest a change for those.
Make them not happen.
Also, I would say Kabuto should be shorter by, 15 episodes, I think.
By, half the series.
By, half the series. Right around the time when the writers forget what they're doing. Then just end it.
I would change a certain character coming back at the end of a certain series.
I know what you're talking about.
I would change the last episode of Gaim. I wouldn't make that. I would make that not happen.
I would erase it. I wouldn't change it. Episode 47.
I would change it from existing. And I don't know. I would make Joe Odagiri come back.
That'd be great. Wouldn't it be great to have Rider 1 and Joe Odagiri do a movie together? Because they're like the number ones of their respective generations.
Yeah, that would be amazing, but alas, shall never happen.
Probably never happen. Alright, we have one last question from a very dedicated fan.
Hey, I get to read this one.
Yeah, you
Fuck
do that one.
It's Cyberman Worf again.
Hey!
He says, hello again, you guys. Number one super fan here. You don't get to call yourself that.
We
can call you that sarcastically.
We will
That's
assign
it.
the titles. Thank you.
My question for this one relates to the years when Kamen Rider wasn't on the air in Japan after its inception, such as between Stronger and Sky Rider, and between J and Kuga. Do you feel the gaps between seasons back then helped keep some of the series fresh? And if not, and not become bloated, or do you think we might have missed out on some great potential from those years? What do you think, Liam?
I think Kamen Rider completely skipped the golden age of special effects, which was the late 80s and early 90s. Well, it was in with Black and Black RX. And I've seen Black, and Black has really good special effects, like a lot of good practical stuff.
ZO has really great
has good special
practical
effects. Too, which is why...
I mean, like Jay has pretty good special effects as well.
Jay had some cool stop-motion shit. That was what I was really impressed. Like, they actually worked out... Well,
so did ZO.
Yeah, whenever a rider has to fight a really, like, gruesome, non-human beast, nowadays it's really awful CG. Jay was like, let's just make a stop-motion fight, and it was a pretty creative solution. I liked it. But that's why I'm upset that we didn't get real shows from that era, because that was when special effects were great. Still, it was like practical effects were at the top, and CG wasn't everywhere yet. It's like CG wasn't everything it was.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm actually going to take the opposite position.
Okay.
Because there's a reason why Kamen Rider went on a break during those periods. It's because it wasn't popular any longer and it couldn't draw the ratings in order to sustain itself. And that gap is what reignited the interest in it when it came back. If it wasn't for the time without it, absence makes the heart grow fonder, it might have just petered out and never continued on at all.
Yeah. I guess you're thinking about this from like a social standpoint, and I'm thinking about this from an FX standpoint.
I think we absolutely did miss out on something really special during the late 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Although, like, a lot of the Super Sentai series of that era don't really get into those special effects much.
That's true, but Black had better special effects, I think, than any Super Sentai season that was airing around then. Black's special effects were great. Like, people would fly in Kamen Rider Black, and it didn't look horrible. Like the very
they used
first
wires
episode.
For it. They didn't use stop motion or CG or whatever.
In the very first episode, the priests are flying around looking for Kotaro. They're chasing him, and it's like, damn, that looks good. It looks really
they look
good.
creepy as hell the way they move through the air and everything.
It's great.
It is great, and I think we missed out on a lot of great things that could have happened in special effects and everything. Not so much between Stronger and Sky Rider, because they had absolutely created a formula at that point.
Yeah.
And they were making up for the fact that the formula was staying the same by making things more goofy. Yeah. And I feel like that probably would have continued. And Stronger hit a really sweet spot with that. But I feel like it probably would have continued and spiraled a bit into that. And I don't think I want to watch, the Kamen Rider happy, fun time, laugh-a-lot hour.
Yeah, Stronger was good because it thought, at least, that it was going to be the end of Kamen Rider. So they were like, let's do this shit, let's bring all the other riders back, let's have a big bang ending, let's have a real threatening villain, let's do it up good. It was the break, or the fact that they thought Kamen Rider was going to be over, it helped it, I think, so.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So that's
and they got everybody back for it,
yeah,
which was awesome.
I think that's...
And they never did that again.
The only time Hongo ever came back before Heisei vs. Showa was that episode, wasn't it? The end of Stronger.
Yeah, he came back...
he did a cameo in Agito.
During V3.
Yeah. He came back in V3, he did a cameo in Agito, and he was in Stronger. And I believe that's it.
I think he might have appeared between the original series and Stronger in at least, a cameo or a single episode.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. There's probably a...
But after Stronger, that was it. He had a cameo in Agito, and then Heisei vs.
Yeah,
Showa.
we might be missing a couple, but, that's... I know he didn't do much. He had a real career. He didn't need to come back to Kamen Rider.
Yeah. There's this show opening, I think I showed it to you, where, Hongo is a police officer, and he accidentally murders his partner in a dark room.
What the fuck?
And... He gets let go from the force or whatever, and the opening is him sadly walking away from a sunset for the entire opening.
You didn't show me this.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this show about?
That's awesome.
But he looks awesome in it because he's got a trench coat with the thing turned up, and he's wearing a suit and tie. It looks really cool.
That's pretty sick.
I want to see it, but I'm wondering what the fuck is this about?
You're gonna have to watch it then.
Yeah, sub that. Sub the show I can't know the name of because it's all in Japanese.
Look, they all know, I'm sure. They all are immediately sitting and going, oh yes, it's Rider Cop Murder Man. That's my favorite show.
I would watch the shit out of that show.
Get out.
Anyway,
Watch Toei comes out next week with Rider Cop Murder Man.
That's the next one after Ghost.
Fuckers.
John Toei, fucking listen to our podcast, stealing all our ideas.
John Toei, I know you're out there.
Fucking, anyway. That's my 2 cents on it. I think Kamen Rider would have petered out and not continued on if they would have tried to force it during those years.
Yeah, you're probably right. The gap in the 90s was a necessary evil.
That actually makes me wonder, with, like, Kamen Rider so heavily focused on toy sales these days, and toy sales have been somewhat, like, slouching little by little every year, and the upturn is never enough to make up for the slouch of the previous year, even with Gaim. I wonder if we're going to get another gap sometime soon.
I think Kamen Rider is still plenty profitable. Like, even the low toy sales, right? Like, it's still enough. The toys still sell quite a bit compared to other toys around. Like, they're still...
They can't really be spending all that much to make Kamen Rider.
Yeah, especially shift cars, which are just hunks of fucking plastic, right? They can't be too expensive to produce. Fuck shift cars.
They turn in the middle.
Oh, I'm sorry. They twist. Oh, mea culpa. Fuck shift cars.
You and fucking shift cars.
Shift cars killed my family.
Well, maybe they shouldn't be fucking talking shit about shift cars.
It's a never-ending cycle.
Liam, you're the funniest guy on this podcast when I'm not around. Anyway,
Fuck off. That's the end of my talk. It's over. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
It worked. It finally worked.
We have a Twitter that's at Rider Club Radio. We've got an email that's riderclubradio@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter. Send us an email. Shoot us a tweet.
Yeah, interact with us. We love it.
Yeah.
I'm on the fucking Twitter pretty much every day.
Yeah, we both monitor the Twitter quite a bit.
And if you're in Kamen Rider thread on any website, just be like, hey, Rider Club Radio guys. And 9 out of 10 times, one of us will be like, what?
Whoa, what's up? If not, someone will be there to impersonate us in short order.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Somebody will show up and be like, we actually fucking hate Kamen Rider, and we have sex with each other all the time, and we hate you. The end.
How would that person know all of those things about us, though, that are true?
I like how you just slipped in that are true.
That are true, by the way.
Clench that joke.
just push it in, just push it all the way. Don't let it hang out.
That's what we do to each other.
This podcast has gone on about 2 minutes too long.
This podcast has gone on about fucking 25 episodes too long. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.